everybody, my name is Chase Pipes, and you're watching Chasing History, brought to you by American Digger Magazine and the Smoky Mountain Relic Room. We're the educational branch of the Smoky Mountain Relic Room, and we're back in a canyon with our buddy Ty. Ty, where have you, what is this awesome place you drug us to?
This is the wilderness area just outside of Dinosaur National Monument. We came up in here, we've been told by some of the locals there's some Indian granaries up in here. I saw a picture a few years ago of a really, really nice one that looked, almost looked new. So we're just coming up here, do a little explore and see what we can find.
See, here's the thing, folks, is that out on our public lands, there are still some amazing pieces of prehistoric Native America that's still intact, and it's important that it stays intact. So what we want to do is for those who can't get out and explore this, is to take you guys with us and show you this awesome stuff that's up ahead. So let's do it. All right, let's go. So, Ty, this is a hell of a place. I mean, dude, look at this. There's like sheer cliffs going on. I mean, we can echo across, and there were people here living over 1,000 years ago. What's going on with this?
There's a couple different things. One is, well, the few places you can find water out in this sort of country is in these deep canyons. You can see these potholes in the bottom that hold water for longer periods of time, so they would want to live next to water. We had that nice flat out at the mouth of the canyon they could grow their corn in. We have these overhangs and these cliffs here that are shelter and protection. So they would, they didn't have a cabin, they didn't have a fridge, so they'd build these granaries up in the rocks to hide their corn and hide their stuff from rodents and animals and each other.
Yeah, because see, guys, that's a thing to keep in mind on is that during this time, around 800 to 900 years ago, these ancestral Pueblo and Indians, there was a huge drought that took over this portion of the Southwest. And, resources like corn and water were prime real estate. And so that was something that you need to protect. And that's why you see these granaries way up in these crazy places and people moving out of the flatter areas and up into these more defensible positions. And this is what we're going to go. This is what we're hunting. So this is awesome. All right, let's keep trucking on. So we've made it up here, up this canyon. Yeah. But we've got a really awesome vantage point of what we're looking for. So what's going on, dude? What? Well, this is nuts.
We're going off of second, third-hand information.
That's true.
So it's supposed to be on that side of the canyon. You stay on this side of the canyon, you look across and you can find it.
There was no GPS coordinates to this. This was take this road up this canyon to the left.
So we've stayed up a little bit high. We kind of got on top of this ledge and got ledged out. So looking for this thing, we're just looking at all these overhangs, and we come around this corner, and you can see underneath the one down lower.
Right down there.
You can see that granary sitting there. We'll go down and try to see. We'll see if we can get off here and get closer to it. But you can see it's got the lid and everything still on it. It's pretty intact. It's really good shape.
It's literally the most intact prehistoric Native American structure I've ever seen outside of a national park or something like that, where it was designated for that. I mean, look, it's got a freaking lid still on it. I mean, that's just incredible, Yeah. And I can't stress enough, guys, when you come out here to view these things, take pictures, take videos. Don't take anything else but memories.
Yeah, don't climb on them. We're not going to pick up that lid. We're not going to move rocks, because just the act of walking around it can erode the dirt and make that thing cave in.
Oh, for sure. We want to bring you guys out here where you can see that there's still awesome history out there. I mean, forget the ruins in Rome, man. That's hell with that. Look at that. We've got a granary in a freaking canyon. How awesome is that? All right, so no promises, but we're going to try to get down to it. So
we'll see. We'll find a way.
Yeah, we'll find a way. You first. Yeah. All right, let's go. So walking around here, we're looking at some of this vegetation that's here. These trees here would have had to have been here when prehistoric Native Americans were here.
This is, a tree like this doesn't look like much. It's short, it's gnarly and stuff, but it's so gnarly because they have such a harsh environment they live in. They're slow growing. They're abused.
What species is this?
This is a juniper.
Okay.
A lot of times out here in the West we just call them cedars, but they're not a true cedar. They're called a juniper. And one thing that you'll see on a lot of these trees is this tree is only alive on one little teeny strip and has one branch. But it's been growing that way so long that it's grown flat, and this is actually just rotted off. I mean, and this is some very hard wood that lasts a long time. A tree like this is probably 400 to 600 years old.
God,
like
that's
this.
that's
I mean,
nuts.
Yeah,
400 to 600 years it's been sitting on this
here.
cliff.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it watched natives run up and down this canyon at one point.
Wow. Now, would this be a part of their diet? Because junipers have berries.
No, I mean, they did do some things with junipers. They smudged the branches for smoke, things like that. But there's really not anything you can eat with these unless you want to flavor your gin.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes.
But what they did eat was these trees over here.
Oh, the pinions?
The pinyon pine.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the pinyon pine. They have longer needles, they have a different bark on them, but they also have these cones that in the fall drop great big pine nuts. I mean, you probably have seen pine nuts in the stores.
Oh, yeah.
This is where pine nuts come from. And they were a very important staple to the natives and to a lot of wildlife.
So this is a species of tree that would have been here in prehistory.
Yes, yeah, these are native trees that have been here forever.
Now there's a lot, I mean, it's insane how much bare rock is exposed.
Yeah.
You know, you go back 1,000 years, would there have been some soil here, or would this have always been bare rock?
This probably would have been a lot of bare rock still, just because the environment, it's a fast eroding. The hard layers don't erode, but yet the layers in between are soft, so it erodes fast, so it forms these cliffs. It would have been more grasses out in the flats, more scrub. You probably would have had like scrub oak, maybe some quaking aspen down in the canyons and things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
There's around the corner over here up against the cliffs, in some of the little pockets that are a little bit wetter, there's still quaking aspen pockets and scrub oak and choke cherry and things like that.
Now quake and aspen, they're thousands of years old.
Yeah, they're an ice age remnant.
Yeah.
Some of those are actually some of the oldest living organism on the planet. They've discussed how that's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole other episode. It's Google it. It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, we still haven't found a way down.
But we did find another one.
But we did find another one, which is awesome. That one's not as pristine condition as the other one, but it's still in awesome shape.
It still shows it's there. It's got the lid leaning up against the wall. So.
All right, we're gonna continue on. You guys follow us. We'll try not to die. Oh, dude, this is insane. Whoa, this is awesome. So this is the one that we saw.
This is the very last one we saw.
So this is the second
one we didn't even, we're just going to find up here.
This is nuts, man. So this is a prehistoric granary.
Yeah, this is 1100, 1200 AD.
Oh, this is insane. This is nuts, and this is so far out. I mean, there's not much of a canyon here, but there's all these great little pools and everything. Now, would water have gone full time or not?
That's hard to say. I mean, at one point it might have been a perennial stream. It might have just been these water holes holding water that attracted them here. It's hard to say.
But definitely for sure, these holes would have held water.
They would have held water, yeah. A lot of these holes you're seeing that have water in them right now will hold water for months.
Wow.
Right in the middle of the summer, you can come up here and still get water.
Wow. And so, again, there's another reason to be back here.
And every time thunderstorms or anything, these canyons really flow a lot of water. It's a lot of runoff, flash flood type situation. So these pools will replenish and refill every time it rains.
Okay. And of course, I'm sure that would attract other animals, smaller animals that would have supplemented their diet.
Yeah, I'm sure there's all sorts of, I don't know if they would have came this far up, but the ones at the mouth of the canyon, the deer, the elk, the bighorn were big out here.
Really?
Yeah, there was more bighorn than there was mule deer in the west at one point.
Okay.
The sheep came in, gave them sheep diseases, they all died. But
way to go, sheep.
But this is the type of country bighorns would have been coming down here to get water from these potholes.
Oh, wow. Now, there's also crevices along that it doesn't look like there's any structure or anything going on. Would they have had structures or?
It's really hard to say. I mean, it just depends on which one they liked at the time. Some of these, I mean, it's been long enough now, some of them might have weathered out deeper than they used to be. Some of them that would have had a structure might be caved in and you won't even see anything now.
Right.
Or completely blasted out or anything else.
But the thing too to remember, guys, is that erosion is still very present here in the desert, which is why it's important to stay you know, 6, 8 feet away. Don't climb up on it. Don't get to it because it's having a hard enough time with the erosion that's present. So we're going to stand about this far back and take good pictures and good memories, which is what you should do in places like this. This is awesome, man. It's a prehistoric granary, and it's got a lid.
Yep,
it's got a lid. That's incredible. You know, and I bet one of the reasons why it's fallen over is I guess when the temperature inverts, the wind comes down from here.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's water, rain. I mean, the wind. I mean, 1,000 years, the rain. How many times did the rain blow sideways and hit that clay and wash it out?
Right.
You know, how many times it run off this edge? It looks to me like the water's starting to run down the edge, and it might not.
Yeah.
It didn't used to do that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that is neat about this site is it's well enough protected that in this clay that they were using to stack the rocks and hold them together, just like we use mortar and brick, you can still see their fingerprints from them putting that clay and that mud in between the rocks from thousands of years ago.
That is awesome. Wow. That is incredible. So cool. All right, let's go look at the good one.
All right.
So right here, we have another one. As we're hiking along, that there is almost nothing left of it. But it's right up against this cliff, and it just shows you every bit of space was utilized for this. So we're gonna keep on, see if we can't find some more. God, this is awesome. Holy cow. Wow. This is incredible. This is the most intact prehistoric Puebloan structure I've seen outside of a national
Unbelievable.
park.
I've never seen one this good.
That's nuts. The lid's on it. The lid's still on it, and it looks like there's more. How many we got?
I
Because it looks
can
like
count 5.
so we
One
got
there.
one here,
This was actually another one you can see is double stacked right here.
right there.
That one, and that one.
So we had a multi-tiered.
Yeah, there was like 5,
Range.
at least 5, if not more here.
Wow.
This was a big group. This wasn't just a small family unit.
Yeah.
This was a big group that lived at the mouth of this canyon.
Well, I mean, if you look at the mouth of the canyon, I mean, there's quite a lot of space down there for growing corn and agriculture and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, you know, and it makes sense that, you know, the living space would be down there and the caches would be up here.
Yeah,
You know, where
away from camp, hid, protected,
Yeah.
out of the weather.
Because, I mean, even from up there, I mean, it took us forever to
Oh yeah,
figure out
you could.
where
If
this
you just
thing
walk
was.
up the bottom of the canyon, you probably wouldn't see these.
Yeah, yeah. This is insane. You know, this is absolutely. I can't tell you guys how rare it is to see this stuff prevalent out in the world today. You just don't get that anymore, and it's so important to pay respect and to be respectful of these places. Don't climb on it.
Oh,
don't
wow.
scratch on it. Don't just take pictures and respect the people that have been here before us. Because of this experience right here that Ty's having, that I'm having, of just, wow. That's awesome. Something I want to bring you guys over here close to, and we'll do that, is we're not far from where dinosaurs are, right?
No, we can almost see the dinosaur quarry from here.
Okay, we brought something up the canyon from another site we want to show you guys, so come on close. You know what's fascinating about this is their method of construction still holds true to this day.
It does.
You know, they're using a wattle and daub formation, stacked rocks with this hard clay mud packed in between, and it's got roof on it with sticks in it. Tell us about that, Ty.
The sticks are kind of a neat thing. I mean, that was what was holding the roof up. They didn't have the arch, you know, they didn't develop that very well here. So they used the sticks to hold the roof up. But one of the very neat things about these sticks is they've gone through and they've dated all the trees.
Dendrochronology.
Yeah. So you can look at the rings, the width, you know, dry years, wet years, and you can look at that pattern and line them up, and they can actually age this probably almost to the year of when those sticks were cut and used on this.
Yeah, that's a method of, just how in dry years a tree doesn't grow very well, so the ring is very, very thin, and in wet years the tree's growing a lot, so the width is very wide. So there are records all over the United States and actually all over the world where they have these patterns matched up of dendrochronology, where they can date a tree and look at it by the weather patterns and to know, when that would have that tree would have grown. And it's a great way to date structure when carbon isn't present. But
this one they actually burned the end of this stick off, so that they could actually carbon date the end of that right there as well. So they could date this 2 different ways to know exactly when this was made.
Now, when they would have done the daub on it, would have heated it, or would that just...
No, it would have just been a certain mix, whatever they came up with, whatever was available in the area, and they would have just packed it in there and let it dry.
Wow. This is absolutely incredible. And you can see one of the lids that they used, is just a thin sheet of this sandstone.
Yeah, that they packed and shaped to fit this particular granary. Yep.
This is incredible. This is awesome.
When these were built, these would have been water and rodent tight.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been, it doesn't do them much good to store their wheat or their grain if the pack rats would have been able to get into it and haul it all off.
So, Ty, what is this?
This is called pack rat middens.
Okay.
Ratite?
Ratite?
Ratite.
Ratite. Okay.
So this is...
What formation is this in?
This is pack rat urine and feces. So they would bring all these little goodies, all these sticks, twigs, pine needles, everything back to their nest, and pack rats have a tendency to just piss on everything all the time. And it builds up and it cements it into this stuff. You can smell that weird smell, that pack rat smell. So not that long ago, this rock was the overhang. They were living in the crack behind it, and this peeled off and it exposed it. It wouldn't surprise me if there's more granaries just underneath this big boulder, because this would have been the biggest old part of the overhang right here.
Yeah, because if you look, I don't know if you can see from up there, but if you look up top, you can see the staining where the urine has run down, where this whole rock was attached to here. And it just shows you that erosion is still continuing. Oh, yeah. One day, this rock will fall and this granary will be no more. Yeah. But that's a cool thing.
You can see how the rest of the rock has a patina from the minerals oxidizing and coloring it. This doesn't have any patina on it because it's fresh still.
That's awesome. And it really is overwhelming to be in a place where there are straight up ruins still there. I mean, there are so few places back east where we are, that we've got, it's humid, it's raining all the time, and things are rotting and collapsing. Here, due to the climate only, you've got the ability of these structures to still stay intact and in place. But you can see here, see this rock right here. This rock wasn't here, when this structure was built. This rock was up here.
Yeah.
And it has fallen down. Erosion is still going on in these places. So,
one of the neat things about all these ruins out here in the West is because they are so dry and so well protected, there's a lot of perishable items they've been able to find in these. Things that are made out of, cords and sandals, moccasins, and things like that you don't normally see because they rot away so fast. If they had tucked something back up here behind the rock, it would have still been there and intact, and we would have been able to study and learn from that. Yeah,
this is awesome. The neat thing too is that, this is a place where, dinosaurs once roamed. And that's kind of your connection to the place. You've got your dinosaur dude ranch. Dinosaur dude ranch! Way that way. Way that way. And there's a lot of dinosaur fossils there, but one of the things that there isn't prevalent here is the material in order to manufacture tools.
No, there's not a lot of agates, there's not a lot of jaspers, there's no obsidian out here, there's not a lot that they could use for their tools, like in some areas. So a lot of times out here what we find is that they use what was available. And one of the things that they was available was the gastroliths. They're a lot of them are good hard agate. They survive, they're solid, they're actually in good shape to even start a cornstarch flakes off of.
This is something that we wanted to bring you guys here to talk to you about, because it's not, you know, often that you can bring an artifact. Now, we've got some artifacts here, but they were found in a way other place on private property,
yes.
And right next to where, you know, there's dinosaur, you know,
right where we're digging dinosaurs,
right.
you know.
And it goes to show you now, this is a gastrolith. All right, this is the stone that Ty's talking about here. And you can see it's heavy polished. So tell us about gastroliths. What are these rocks here?
They would have been in the gastrointestinal tract. They would have been in the gut of the dinosaur. It would have helped them digest their food. They would have swallowed.
Sorry, I'm like, come close, crash down.
No, they would have swallowed a bunch of these rocks. I mean, we don't know how many different types of dinosaurs do it, but we do know they did it. They would swallow these just like a chicken does today, and their crop, and it would help grind up that coarse food and help move it through their system. And in the course of that happening, they get smooth, they get polished, and they stand out. You're up in the clay of the Morrison, there's no gravel, there's no rock, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of gizzard stones sticking out.
Right. These stones are found in the same layer they find the dinosaur fossils, and there's no other stone like that anywhere
There's not river gravel. It's not like this. We're picking this up out of the middle of a river gravel. This is nothing around, just straight clays, and then these.
And what's fascinating is prehistoric Native Americans, because there wasn't a great source of tool-making material, they saw these stones and used them to make tools out of them, just like this tool right here. This is a little chopper, a little hand tool. This is just something made really quickly for one cutting use and then discarded. But this is made out of a gastrolith, and you can see it still has the same polish on it as this stone does, and it was found in the same general area. But this is a tool made out of a dinosaur, something that a dinosaur created.
We call them doubles. It's a fossil artifact.
Yeah. But it's not often do you get the opportunity to bring a stone tool back to a place like this, you know, and it being made out of a dinosaur fossil. I mean, come on, dude, how cool is that?
That is neat.
I mean, that is amazing. I mean, it's just, you know, and how you can tell that these are tools versus just a rock that's broken, because you do find these stones that are fractured. You know, the rock that they're weathering around of, you know, the gizzard will stick out a little bit, you'll have freeze thaw, and they'll crack in half, and the rest of the rock's still in there. Then the rest of the rock erodes, and the other half falls out. So those cracks are very discernible. But this has what's known as industrial flaking, and what has happened is there has been industry on this tool. There has been a blow to the rock there, and you can see the pattern right there. All right, there's been another blow here, and you can see the flaking pattern there. This is called industrial flaking because I'm using industry. The action of my arm striking this is industry. There's another flake there. Then it was reversed over to create a sharper edge where it was struck there to create that flake right there, and struck there to create that flake right there. And those 5-6 movements is all that it took to create this tool.
One of the things you'll see on most of these artifacts is you will get this zigzag pattern. So as you're flaking, taking this flake off, and if you look, they are offset, they're not even. That creates what's called a seat.
Yep, see it?
So it creates a ridge right there. So the next flake would have been on top of that, and it would have been what drove a longer, flatter flake off to thin it down. And then it would also give you a sharp flake. You know, he might have carried that around in his pouch for a week. Every time he killed a rabbit, knock a flake off, skin the rabbit out, throw the flake away, throw the rock back in his pouch. One of the things I've learned, and I've done some napping, and when I learned to nap and read some of the books, and I was taught how, is you see this zigzag that it has on this rock. And the reason that it is like that is these are offset flaking. So what that does is it creates a seat, and it actually sets it up for the next flake. So because it has that ridge, and the flake's out the other side, it gives it somewhere to strike and drive a longer, flatter flake out.
To carry that energy
through, to thin it down. You get a sharper flake so that you can use it for skinning rabbits, whatever you want to do.
See this ridge right here? In flint knapping, when you go to knap, that's your platform. That's called a platform. And when you strike that, the energy will travel this ridge, and that's how you remove these flakes. And this zigzag is how people would that's how they would map out where they would hit. When creating and manufacturing tools from stone, you just don't start whacking on a rock and it makes a sharp point. You have to map it out and plan it out. And one of the theories to how the human brain developed was not only through voice, but the forward thinking in mapping out where to strike these rocks. And so you create these platforms, and it has a zigzag pattern. And like Ty was saying, that's a great way to identify a stone tool.
I mean, these choppers like this are, I mean, these are some of the oldest tools known to man. I mean, outside of the United States, they're very, very old. And this is one of the first things that hominids developed.
Yeah.
Bust them bones, get the marrow out, get a little extra protein. I mean, these were a very useful item right here.
Yeah, these are called pebble tools, and if this exact tool was found in Africa, depending on where it would be found, it would be anywhere from 80,000 to 500,000 years old. That's how long human beings have been manufacturing tools, and this technology, the pebble tool technology, was the very first technology that early humans used to make tools. This is where we went from that to this camera that is recording us now. These are manufactured tools. Yep. So it's just an amazing opportunity and a really freaking cool tool. It's out of a dinosaur bone, dude. That's nuts. And we wanted to pack it here. We wanted to bring it here to this place to show you guys. Because
together, it could have been the same people.
Yeah,
they traveled all over. We don't know.
It's a hell of a hike. It's a long walk.
It is,
but for them, they probably would have been easy. But man, do we have anything else further down?
I thought there was another one at the mouth of the canyon when we came up.
Oh,
we'll just take a little one. We could take a look and just see the neat canyon. See if we could actually walk out the bottom.
All right, let's do it. Come on.
This just shows when they finally get exposed to the elements how fast these things disappear. This would have been another granary. You can see the same colored rock. You can see that wattle and daub mud laying in pieces. Some of it's still angular chunks that were in between the rocks, but it's completely gone. There's hardly anything left of this. You could walk past this and not even know this was a site.
Yeah, that's a shame how fast that things just get eroded by nature. So, okay, this is one we can't get to. We're not going to get to. I'll have to bring some ropes or some equipment for this, but I mean, it just shows you how isolated this stuff is. And look at the rock slab next to it. That's where that slab has fallen down next to it. But this one is just in pristine condition. And it's just, look at the cliff back behind us. Or the canyon back behind us. This is right here at the mouth. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. And like Ty was saying, where this stuff was rat-proof and rodent-proof, using these slabs that are in the area, these sandstone slabs to build up miniature walls. That's an incredible freaking one. That's in great, great shape. That's cool. All right, let's go find it. Well, we got some clouds rolling in, so we're kind of having to move out of this. Get out of this canyon a little quick. But, since we're at the mouth, you can see out the flat area out there. This is where the agriculture would have been taking place, right?
Yeah, they would have been growing corn out on that flat somewhere. It would have been a little bit wetter, been more frequent rain. Corn would have been able to grow out there, and then they would have just brought up here to hide it.
And hid it up here. That's incredible. Yeah. Just think of all that it takes to survive. And, these places still exist. Yeah. There are still wild places to go explore and to see. Yeah. And this is one awesome one. It's a hell of a hike, but
we've already even scratched it. We've got another 15 miles before the national park boundary.
God.
As the crow flies.
As the crow flies, yeah. What's awesome is you just can't imagine how big this country is and how many places there are to go see and go explore. Yeah. So, dude, Ty, thank you Across the Canyon so much for taking us out here. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Be sure to go check out our other episodes on our YouTube channel, Chasing History. If you like what we've got going on, we've got a podcast, Chasing History Radio, where you get the same diverse content that you've got here. This is the Smoky Mountain Relic Room. We are the educational arm of the Wait a minute. This is Chasing History. This is Chasing History. We are the educational arm of Smoky Mountain Relic Room. I got to write all this stuff down and get it, but yeah. Twitter? No, we will never. You can follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Smoky Mountain Relic Room, Chasing History. But one place we won't be is on Twitter. Tyler, are you on Twitter? What's your Twitter handle?
I'm not on Twitter.
Are you sure?
I am very sure.
You're very sure. We're not on Twitter. Twitter's evil. That's why. So thank you so much for bringing us out here, man. Remember, history rocks. Woohoo! I feel like I'm 5 years old. 5 years old. Hey Ty, you find a way down?
Not yet.
That's a long drop.
Yeah.